Okay, so we're at the Data Center Association 10 by 10 event, and I am talking to Paul Smethurst, Hillstone Products. So first question for you, Paul, is can we carry on self-regulation in the industry? Can we trust it to do what it needs to do, or is it time for governments to start intervening some legislation?
The industry is self-regulated from the vendors, so it's driven on the commercialised products that the vendors put into the data centres. It's not like oil and gas, which has got the regulation from Lloyd's of London. We are not at that point yet of reaching the heavy hand or the guiding hand to regulate the industry. So it can only happen, it will happen. We'll just have to, it's a timing thing. Maybe events like this will bring the awareness into government. Maybe we're going down the EU Code of Conduct, and that will be the guidance that we keep adopting. Mark Acton, John Booth got a good input into those documents, and that might be the way we follow what the EU guidance and the EU regs are being set up for and being used.
Okay, and the next one, so how sustainable can a data center be, bearing in mind we're in the digital age where everyone wants endless phones, pics from their phones in the cloud and stuff like that. Is it possible to have a sustainable data center and a digital society?
Depends how we define sustainability. If we're replacing servers on a 2-year basis, physically on the hardware, that's not very sustainable. If we are using servers and setting them up in the switch on with the fans running in default mode, that's another level of unsustainability. If we're going to let the software refreshes extend the life of that server to 5 years, that would create a less landfill. London South Bank University, they're doing some work on the sustainability of servers. We're actually doing something similar with our load banks, so we're doing a project alongside Deborah, and there's a PhD student going to take our load banks to pieces and find out its carbon content, and we're going to then build on that as we'll see what data we get and how far we can go to compare sustainability of that particular, our small part of the industry. So it's the other point that I always think about, and it doesn't trouble me, but I do think quite hard about things. It's not just the data center, it's the delivery to the data center. And I did some research last year for a talk I gave in regards to telecoms. And there's some data that I found which actually made telecoms a higher user of energy than the data centers. And it was from the IEA website that I got the information from. And it was just interesting to go, we think of the data center as being this hungry animal, but the telecom delivery, using your phone, using your internet connection, of getting that data in and out of the facility, that's where, how sustainable is that side of it? Are we looking at it at the wrong angle? Is there a better way of upselling the benefits of this digital industry that we have?
Okay, and so carry on with that thing to a certain extent. Can we carry on evolving in terms of the industry technology to address sustainability challenge, or do we need a revolution? Is it time to sort of throw the rule book out, start again?
You could always switch it off, but I think the world would stop. We are where we are, and the infrastructure that we're investing and the amount of data centres that we're building is going to be for something quite spectacular. I don't believe we know that end game yet, but the infrastructure is there to allow this to evolve into the way the world will be run. But remember, half the world still doesn't have access to fibre broadband or the internet as we would deem it. So when the poorer countries get that technology, the world is going to need these facilities, and it'll be a slightly different place to where we sit today.
Okay, and then the final one, just the industry, like many others, skills shortage. So do you have any words of wisdom how we can A, solve the skills shortage in the industry, and B, diversity, how can we get a more diverse workforce?
Interesting, because not a lot of people work in data centres. Obviously the people building data centres needs lots of people, but relatively speaking, when you ever walk into a data room, there's one desk and one chair, and there's one person sat there with a room full of cabinets and racks. Bringing into, you've got to go to the schools. You've got to bring it in from the schools. You've got to educate people. I'm supposed to be doing something similar in a couple of weeks with a school in Manchester. I'm a fellow of the IET, so I have a responsibility to spread the word. And I was even in the IET building around the corner this morning, and I want to write my own apprenticeship for load banks for the people I employ. The Rising Star programme, which we're going to hear about today, that's another good event which is driving the recruitment or the awareness. And if we can sell the idea of working in tech and the upsell data centres as something exciting, then the school careers is a place to start, and building it through. Apprenticeships are great, you've got the cost benefit of not going to university, and if you can do it specific for a data centre rather than the generalised business roles that you see the apprentices with, there is a focus. You can see the benefits of getting into the industry that we are supporting and we're all involved with.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much for your time.